Sony released a state of play a few days back which reveals some crucial gameplay details of the upcoming Last of Us Part 2. While we are 19 days away from its official release date, let's look at some of the details that we know of. Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Himesh from Game Explorio. I'm so excited about this game, I hope you are too, so let's jump right into the video. According to a recent article by the Forbes magazine, The Last of Us Part 2 would be the largest PlayStation exclusive to date, beating Uncharted 4 which only required 48 gigs and Marvel's Spider-Man which was only 45 gigs. The Last of Us Part 2 digital download would be 100 gigs guys and would occupy 78 gigs of your PlayStation 4 storage space. For a linear gameplay like The Last of Us, these numbers are quite staggering. This shows you that Naughty Dog has put so much attention to creating this world and creating these minute details in the game. Sony made an official announcement saying that The Last of Us Part 2 will run on the PlayStation 5 without any problems. Eurogamer said that Sony made it a requirement that all games released after mid-July should be forward compatible with the PlayStation 5. Games submitted prior to July 13 are not required to meet these conditions. This leads us to believe that upcoming PlayStation 4 titles like The Ghost of Tsushima and Assassin's Creed Valhalla would be forward compatible with the PlayStation 5. Guys, the pre-order sales are racking up high for this game as the pre-orders in Europe has just surpassed that of Marvel's Spider-Man. Spider-Man sales went up to be more than 13 million within a span of a year, and The Last of Us Part 2 could very well come close considering how successful the first game was. Since 2013, the first, which was released for the PlayStation 3, had more than 17 million sales. Alright guys, let's talk about the state of play that was released a few days back. The first game focused on the relationship between Joel and Ellie and how their bond strengthened as the story progressed. The game was about survival, the story about how Joel and Ellie make their way to the Fireflies to use Ellie's immunity to find a cure. Joel quickly realizes that finding a cure could lead to the death of Ellie and fights to take her back. They both flee to the community in Jackson, Wyoming, which is run by Joel's younger brother Tommy and Tommy's wife Maria. This is where we left things off in The Last of Us Part 1. The second game is set 5 years after the events of the first game. The most noticeable change is Ellie's transition from a helpless child to a ruthless survivalist. The game starts at their tranquil life at Jackson, Wyoming. Life is good. Joel and Ellie are living a peaceful life. We see Ellie's relationship with another girl named Dina, who would eventually break up with her. And we see Jess, who as well had a relationship with Dina sometime in the past. An attack goes down at Jackson, which would overturn their lives as they know it. Now we don't have information on who attacks and what goes down, but we could see Ellie is furious.
I'm gonna kill every last one of them.
This could mean that someone close to her gets harmed as a consequence. After the scenes at Jackson, Ellie ventures off into Seattle finding retribution. The interesting fact is that we pretty much never see Joel again. It makes you wonder, is Joel dead? Is that why Ellie is so furious? When in Seattle, Ellie finds out that it is run by a faction called WLF or the Washington Liberation Front. They are at active war with another faction called the Seraphites, or commonly known as Scars. The mission we see in the state of play has a clear motive, finding a woman named Nora. In my opinion, she could be a member of one of two factions, the Fireflies or the WLF. It is unclear who actually Nora is. Ellie's interaction with her lets us know that she has met her before.
Yeah. You remember me.
Now there are two theories running around. Could Nora be Riley? Ellie's friend who was infected and was left to die? Or could it be a close relative of Marlene, a daughter or maybe a sister? I'm inclining towards the former because Ellie never sees her friend turning, although she realized that she was infected. So Riley could also be immune. Again, these are all speculations. it could be completely different from what we are imagining. While these are questions that the game would answer, let's focus on what we actually know about. In the state of play, we were introduced to a new stage of infection called a Shambler. Now, it's unclear whether a Shambler is a new stage of the infection or some kind of a mutation of a bloater. Shamblers are capable of releasing a cloud of spores that will burn the player's flesh or obscure their vision. They also talked about another lethal stage of infection but didn't actually reveal any new information. When talking about combat, it's brutal as ever. There are new gameplay mechanics introduced in this game when it comes to hand-to-hand combat. Ellie can sprint across and dodge enemies and use tools in the environment to her advantage, like throwing bricks at enemies to stun them before engaging them. Ellie can use enemies as shields when attacking. Ellie didn't know how to swim in the first game, but Ellie has gotten pretty good at it this time around. She can use boats to navigate around waterways and a hose to travel on land. And also, I'm a huge fan of the workbench animations when upgrading weapons. Scavenged parts could be used to attach to your weapons, and once you select an item, Ellie will get to work and attach it herself. Guys, The Last of Us Part 2 looks pretty promising, and there are many questions that were not answered in the first part that could be answered in this game. What happened to the Fireflies after Marlene's death? Are they still in pursuit of Ellie to use her to find a cure? What's Joel's fate in the midst of all these? We are about 18 days away from the release of the game, and I'm so excited to get my hands on the game. I hope you're excited as me. Guys, subscribe and stay tuned to my channel as I will bring you the latest gameplay details and more info as soon as the game is released. I'll see you in the next one.